Hello everyone. In this section of the cloud concepts, let us understand what is cloud computing. As a definition, cloud computing is on-demand delivery of IT services over the internet with pay-as-you-go. Cloud service provider will be hosting their resources. So this is cloud service provider. In this case, this will be AWS. So they have the resources like S3 bucket, Elastic Cloud Compute, RDS, and for the end user to provision all the resources, you will be using internet. He provisions all these resources using the internet. And when it comes to the cloud computing, so basically in traditional or legacy environment, we have something called as capex environment, which is nothing but we have to invest the capital or we have to spend a lot of money onto the servers. So basically we need to have the data centers, we need to have power, we need to also have the cooling for the data center, and we need to purchase servers, network equipment, and the operating system license, and also the application license, and again cables and connectors and generators to supply the power if there is any power outage. So all these components are required for the maintenance of the data center. So that is where we have this capex. And when it comes to the cloud computing, we move from capex to opex. So this is operational expenditure. So basically we provision and pay only for the resources whatever we are using. We are not paying for the data center, we are not paying for the security to maintain the data center, we are not paying for the servers, network. So basically we use the services, we pay only for the services. When it comes to services and resources, AWS has 200 plus services, and all these services, any end user who has an account with the AWS, you will be able to provision all these services and pay as you go. So when we move from capital expenditure to the operational expenditure, who is going to manage, maintain the infrastructure? So we have the infrastructure, which will be hardware, and these hardware will be located in the data centers, right? All the hardware's networking components, everything will be managed and maintained by the cloud service provider. So in this particular case, AWS will maintain and manage the entire data center, the data center which are hosted in multiple regions, and also they will be responsible for the security of the data centers, which is physical security of the data centers. There is something called as shared responsibility when it comes to security. What security level will be owned by the customer and what security will be managed by AWS, we will discuss in the future course. So if you have decided to move from capital expenditure to operational expenditure, or if you are going to try out some of the services which are being offered by the cloud service platform like EC2 or S3 or a database, you wanted to provision some of the services and understand how the cloud platform works, there are some of the characteristics which every cloud service provider has to meet. These cloud service, these characteristics are on demand delivery. Irrespective of any cloud service provider, either it can be AWS or Azure or Google, these are the characteristics which any cloud service platform has to meet. Only then we call this as the cloud service platform. So these are the characteristics which it should have. broad network access, multi-tenancy. So this is one of the characteristics, multi-tenancy. And with the help of resource pooling, these cloud service provider will be able to provide services for multiple customers, because this cloud service provider, it can be AWS, Azure or Google. They know that whatever services they are offering, it is offered at a global scale. So this will be at global scale, and these services will be offered across multiple regions, and they will be deploying massive hardware within each of the region, and they know that there will be multiple customers using this. Since multiple customers are going to use the resources which are being offered by the cloud service platform, the cost of those services for the end user, it will be cheap, and also they will be able to procure these hardware at a less cost. And the hardware which is being deployed in the data center, these are customized hardware which will be deployed inside the data center, which are designed, developed by the cloud service provider themselves. So many of the blade servers, many of the servers or compute environment are designed by the cloud service provider. So basically, AWS will design and develop the hardware part for their infrastructure. And we should be able to scale any of the resources, right? So that means we need to have rapid elasticity. So either we can scale up, scale down, or scale in or scale out. So we need to have a rapid elasticity, and also whatever services which are being offered. So these are the characteristics, and whatever services which are being offered by the cloud service provider, it has to be charged back. So they need to measure the services which are being offered to the end user. So measured services. And this is for chargeback. This is for chargeback to the customer. So once the services are measured by the cloud service provider, they will charge only for those services. This is pay as you go. A customer will pay only for the services what they have provisioned. In this topic, we have understood what is the cloud computing definition and what is the difference between CapEx and OpEx, and what are the characteristics of the cloud computing.